So my name is Lara Olivieri. I'm running for Ulster County Family Court Judge. There is a vacancy because Judge McGinty's term ends at the end of this year, and he decided not to run again. There's currently 3 family court judge positions in Ulster County. A little bit about myself. I grew up in Ulster County. I've been here my whole life. I'm originally from Highland, New York. My parents still live there. Can't get them to move further north, even to help them a little bit more. They still won't do it. My dad loves Highland, and he was very connected to his community his whole life. Really always focused on giving back to his community and giving to the people that he would know that were struggling in our community. We always would perform random acts of kindness and bring things to them. And at an early age, I really learned the joy in giving to people. I think that's really driven me for most of my life, trying to help people and give back whenever you can. And it definitely ties into family court for me. One of my first legal jobs was with the Ulster County Attorney's Office, and I was a really young attorney. I had never even really been in court before. And my boss at the time was, pretty much told me he wanted nothing to do with family court. He's like, here you go, here's a stack of cases, go down, and if I don't hear anything about it, we're good. And I quickly realized there was quite a bit of negativity associated with family court, and it kind of drove me to really want to try to push through that negativity and figure out why. And I learned a lot in family court. I feel like I grew as an attorney there and really became one. I learned how to conduct a trial. I met so many people that were mentors to me. And family court is a really difficult place in that you're faced with a lot of issues that you don't want to typically think about. Very, very sad things, very difficult things to process, especially if you've grown up really not exposed to a lot of those types of issues, which I could say that was probably the way I was raised, really not exposed to those types of things. And it can be very hard at first, and then I think you have to go through a point where you can choose to turn away from it, or if you're given the opportunity to work in a place like family court, to say, okay, this stuff is happening, what can I do to help, and kind of just dive in and really focus on what you can do to help and help people. I did really enjoy my time there. I was at the Ulster County Attorney's Office for about 5 years. I helped out a little bit at the Contract Management Office, which actually was formed because of the Ulster County Jail. Mark mentioned that was quite a mess for the county, and they actually started a Contract Management Office to try to help with issues with contract management. So I helped out a little bit. I ended up leaving to go work for the Department of Environment and Conservation for a while. And I really developed skills in mediation there, and I had a really large enforcement caseload. I worked my way to become an administrative law judge, but something was always missing for me, and I really wanted to get back to family court. I started to reach out to people in the court system and other judges, and Judge Rakoff won her election, needed a law clerk. I applied, I got the position, and I felt like I came back home and it was really where I wanted to be. And sometimes, when you leave somewhere, that's when you really realize where you're meant to be, because you have that chance to refocus and really rethink about things. So I came back. I've been with Judge Rakoff for about 3.5 years now in family court, and I get to see the court through the lens of the judge every day. I represent her in settlement conferences. I'm able to work with people one-on-one and their attorneys and try to find ways through some really difficult cases. We do so many different types of cases in family court. We do guardianship cases, custody, visitation, juvenile delinquency, PINs. Did I say custody? Custody, I did. Okay, neglect cases. We do quite a few different cases. Some people just don't realize how many different kind of cases that come before us. I mean, we do child support also. It's interesting. We deal with different issues every day, and I help the judge pretty much whatever she needs. And when that opening came up for Judge McGinty, I had no idea that he would be leaving, and it was, I faced with a decision, and I mean, just to be able to have my own courtroom and create a place that I would like my own courtroom to be, after learning from so many different judges and taking from them things that I like, some things I don't like, but creating my own space where people can come in and really feel heard. And it goes back to that negativity that I was faced with when I first started working there. I would love the opportunity to break down that and have people feel like I'm there to listen to them, I'm there to help them. I want them to feel like they're important and help them know that they can be part of the problem solving, because we deal with a lot of problem solving in family court. And just being able to listen to people, get down to the issues, see if we can employ any services for them. That's what we really need to do, and we need to do it quickly sometimes, especially when we're dealing with really serious issues. So that can be it for my intro, I guess.
Well, you've touched on a lot of questions that I have.
Okay.
So let me start with one that you haven't. Do you know how many children approximately are in foster care in Ulster County at this moment, at this point?
I actually don't. I could try to get that number and get back to you, but I actually don't have those numbers.
Yes, and that's okay.
Okay.
We were just wondering.
Okay.
And then you mentioned what kinds of cases most often come to family court, but is there one that's currently dominating the cases that you see? Is it more custody? Is it more child support? What really is dominating?
Yeah.
And has it changed from before?
Well, for the last 3.5 years, I see a lot of custody and visitation cases that come through. A lot of parents that just can't communicate, need help, need a third party to get involved with the court and to say, okay, let's take a step back, let's try to stop fighting, let's try to focus on your children and try to come to some sort of agreements and have everybody take part in that problem solving. But yeah, I would say mostly custody and visitation.
And is that the biggest challenge for a family court judge at this time, or are there other things that really you find are really something, as you're going from a clerk to a judge? I mean, what will the challenges be, do you think?
You mean the types of cases?
Well, just in general, I mean,
okay.
what will you have to really look at? And I mean, all of us, I think, when you take on a role or take on a new role, you learn sometimes from your mistakes, sometimes from things that don't work right, sometimes from things that do work right. So are you anticipating anything from observing and being a clerk?
Definitely something that I want to focus on. There's a few things I can talk about. One thing is definitely having empathy and listening to people and having patience. I think that that will be my focus. I've witnessed a lot of different proceedings, and I think that people, once they start to feel that they're not being heard, that their voice doesn't matter, things can go south very quickly. And I really want to focus on that and making people feel like they're treated with high respect in my courtroom. And there's just other things that I've noticed. We sometimes, unfortunately, have to place children in, let's say, a temporary housing facility, and it could just be for temporarily the child's in danger from someone else or to themselves. And we work with the Office of Children and Family Services, which is another state agency, and sometimes we have a real issue finding, we say a bed, so it's a place for that child to go temporarily. And sometimes we have quite a bit of an issue finding somewhere. People have to really get together. We're trying to find somewhere, we're making calls. And I would love to try to get more involved with that process and try to talk with the county perhaps about having at least a few contracted vets so that we know if we need to place a child in an emergency situation, it doesn't take hours of people's time to try to find a place for this child and not have to be faced with, oh my gosh, do we have to just send this child back to the situation that they're coming from? So that's an issue. I think another issue that I've seen as a clerk also is we have a lot of people that come to family court, they fill out an assigned counsel application, and a lot of them are eligible. So they fall underneath a certain level of income. And our pool of attorneys, those panels, is pretty low. And it forces the judges to lower our expectations sometimes. Sometimes they're not even meeting with their clients when they come to court. And I have a lot of respect for these attorneys, and it's not their fault. They're just overworked and they're underpaid. And I wish we could get more of a panel and try to get people, maybe visit law schools more often, maybe go out and try to talk somewhere about the importance of what the county is going to do. And we have to keep their fees up, because without that, we're not going to attract new attorneys on the panels. So those are a few issues that I've kind of really honed in on and would like to work on.
It's very interesting. Could you explain your judicial powers in family court in cases of emergency custody? And is there anything that could be added to that?
So in an emergency situation, we're able to put in a temporary order. We just had one recently this week, where a grandparent came in and wanted temporary custody of their daughter's child. She had pictures of weapons and drugs. It was an emergency situation. So a judge can temporarily give custody to someone else. And then what would happen is we schedule a hearing, and then at that point, people can come in and give their side of the story, and we can change that temporary order to a permanent order at that point. But the judge does have a lot of flexibility in that temporary order in order for the safety of the child, best interest of the child.
Okay, thank you. Do you have anything else you want to tell us that we should know about family court? Because I think it's one of the areas that people really, some people have been, and if they've been, they know. But I think other people who have not been, or who have not yet had the occasion to be, don't really could be more informed.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think I'd really like to get involved with more outreach to that family court. I'd like to be able to go to schools and talk to the local school districts, because we are involved with the local school districts quite often.
Oh, really?
Just because even in custody cases, sometimes the schools are calling us and wanting information. They just aren't allowed to, do X, Y, and Z. We deal with school districts through PINS cases, juvenile delinquency cases, and I think that would be a great way to do community outreach. The court system itself has really been trying to do more outreach, and I think that would really help people. The more knowledge they have, the more comfortable they might be about coming in and asking for help. And that kind of goes back to that breakdown of negativity too. I would love people to say that they came in and were in my courtroom and felt comfortable and weren't embarrassed, that they came in and they left with the services that they needed and they were in a better place in their life.
Okay. Thank you. So if you guys want to come up, Mark.